You know what? It's been a while since I've done a video like this, so let's look at one of these classic PS1 titles on my shelf here. Here we go. Oddworld Abe's Exodus. Let's talk about this one. It's f***ing Stranger of Paradise again. Okay, so where did I leave off last time? The Warrior of Light was kicking my shit in over and over again. As it turns out, if you don't actually want to try and make a build, you can just go into extra mode and spam overpower until he's red mist on the floor, which is exactly what I did. I have no shame. Okay, so that's not exactly true. I legitimately tried my hardest to beat the Warrior of Light fair and square. It just wasn't happening. And since I couldn't start the new DLC until I finished that mission, I just made it happen. Which brings us to the topic of today's video, the Wanderer of the Rift DLC, featuring Greg from the Final Fantasy series. What are you doing in my studio? I'm you from a different universe, one where Golden Sun got multiple releases on different consoles, and pretty much everything else is the same. That makes complete and total sense. No one should think too hard about that at all. But what are you doing here? Isn't this the Tales of the Abyss review? We're gonna do this whole thing where, you know, we talked about replicas and, you know, Ash being the real one and Luke, you know what I'm talking about. Isn't that this video? Yeah, sorry man, I don't know what to tell you. I'm still working on Stranger of Paradise for a bit. Haven't even touched anything else other than like Shining Force and Castlevania. Oh, wow, I'm sorry. I thought this was the right spot in the timeline. Finish your Stranger of Paradise video. I'm gonna go hang out with Soba for a bit. I haven't even considered doing a review of Tales of the Abyss. Jack and his two good friends, Lefty and Super Punchy Punch, trek through the dimensional labyrinth for the opportunity to hang out with Gilgamesh in scenic locations and remind him that Jack is not to be messed with. Turns out the Gilgamesh of this game is actually from the Dissidia timeline, so for all you Dissidia Final Fantasy fans out there, which I know there are 2, this is the DLC for you apparently. He also recognizes the name Garland, although we're not that Garland, we're just Garland. They managed to have quite a few interesting conversations too before Gilgamesh decides that he's Tuxedo Mask. This goes on for 22 floors until suddenly Mechagodzilla appears from nowhere and demands your lunch money. I think it's technically the same death machine from the original Final Fantasy game, but this one has arms made of machine guns. It's just too bad that it suffers the same as everything else does. And yes, I'm sure you've noticed by now, but even though I'm in extra mode, I'm not taking any damage. I don't like being locked out of story by not getting good, so I decided to use the 400% Knight Affinity ability in tandem with extra mode to achieve immortality. Am I a proud man? No. But did I manage to beat the DLC and finish the story all while achieving the Platinum Trophy? Also no. At least to the Platinum Trophy. That thing is a pain in the ass to earn. Wanderer of the Rift follows in the footsteps of Trials of the Dragon King by adding in a new level of difficulty called, of course, Gilgamesh, and a brand new class, the Blue Mage. Oh boy, I get to be a Blue Mage, like my favorite Final Fantasy character of all time, Final Fantasy VI's Strago Magus. Kind of. You use the Chain Affinity ability to spam the abilities that you get from monsters and bosses. You can also play the Chaos Dating Sim with the Discarded Organic Reconnaissance Unit, aka Astos 2.0, and a slew of other monsters that you can summon with soul gems. Just be sure to always talk to them, feed them, do quests for them, and give them a well-oiled massage to build up your smoochin' meter. I mean affinity meter. Once they love you enough, they'll even answer your texts at night and come help you beat people up. Don't forget about the Dimension Bringer ability. Great point, thanks for the reminder. Also, you were out of beer when I got here. So yeah, Dimension Bringer is the new bringer power for the expansion. Like its Lightbringer and Chaos Bringer cousins, it uses your entire mana bar, but instead of making you much more powerful, you slow down time in a huge bubble around you, meaning enemies can keep moving while you attack, but they are incredibly slow. You deal more damage each time you use an action too, so be sure to stack up those hits. There's also some new Dragon Trials that were added to the mix and a brand new currency to spend on the new Artifact weapon. If you're lucky, they may even be blessed by a summoned spirit. Even me, who we all know is legitimately terrible at this game, managed to get a few good drops here and there. Which leads me to the next section of the video, one of which we're going to talk about right now and then never bring up again. Up until the Wanderer of the Rift DLC, I never put any thought behind a build for Jack or any of his friends. I actually sat down and did some research on job affinities that would work well with the one new class I accidentally fell in love with, the Evoker. The Evoker is actually much more of a neat class than I had previously given it credit for in another video. There's nothing quite like using your Summon Spirit to pull weaker enemies together and then absolutely wrecking them with the Lacerate ability. I put in way too much fucking time trying to get the skills on the armor I wanted, the right pieces of armor, and trying to be the best Evoker I could be. I legitimately went in trying to learn every little detail. And after a lot of trial and error, I can confidently say I was able to get through some of the harder difficulty Bahamut missions and most of the Gilgamesh DLC without having to resort to extra mode. It actually made me feel really accomplished, and I never get to feel that way with Stranger of Paradise. So, Wanderer of the Rift. Did it meet my expectations for another part of the Stranger of Paradise story? Yeah, well enough. The Dimensional Labyrinth is just smaller versions of pre-existing levels with new challenges, so they're extremely easy to pick up and put down in small batches. The affinity system isn't too obtrusive, and getting new gear is always appreciated. If I had one complaint, be it a very minor one, it's about the Arcanum materials that are needed. You get so few of them on each level, and you need them to do so many things. And, you know, the Death Machine was a major pain in the ass. Hey, sorry again to interrupt your video, man, but hey, look at that! With this video, you're done. No, this is DLC number 2, Wanderer of the Rift, featuring Gilgamesh from the Final Fantasy series. Different Future doesn't come out until... it's already out. That's not good. Different Future broke me when I played that, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Well, I'm off. I'm sure me being here early didn't impact anything in a completely negative way. Right, Soba?